everyone, hope you're okay. Today's story is Edgar and the Sausage Inspector, and this story is written by Fearnley. Edgar and his sister Edith lived in a funny little house at the end of a narrow little alley. Edgar loved Edith and tried to make her happy every day. One day Edith was feeling particularly hungry as Edgar went to get something special for dinner. It wasn't long before he spotted Edith's favourite thing, a nice string of sausage. Edith loved sausages. Edgar hurried home feeling very pleased with himself, but then a loud voice said, "Hold it right there!" A rat in a hat was blocking the way. "I am the inspector," he declared. "I inspect things, and I need to look in that bag." Edgar had never met the inspector before. The rat looked very important. He was wearing a hat. So Edgar let the inspector look inside. Just as I suspected," he nodded. "Bad sausages. I must take them away at once for further inspection." The rat snatched the sausages and ran off, squeezing through a hole in the wall. Edgar and Edith had to make do with dry crackers for dinner that night. Edith could hardly believe it. "You say a rat took our sausages," she said. "He looked important," sighed Edgar. "He was wearing a hat." The next day, Edgar decided to make up for losing the sausages with something delightful for Edith from the patisserie. "She'll be thrilled," he thought. But when he turned back down the alley... "Hold it right there!" boomed a familiar voice. It was the inspector again. This time the inspector had a hat and a badge. He looked very important and decidedly plumper than before. "I was right about the sausages," he said. "They were, bad." "Are those cakes?" asked the inspector. "I've heard reports about bad cakes. I'd better inspect them." "Hand them over." "But they're my cakes," said Edgar. "No complaining," said the inspector. "I've got a hat and a badge, and you'd better do as you are told." Edgar watched miserably as the inspector grabbed the cakes and squeezed through a hole in the wall. He trailed home with empty paws. Edith was not thrilled. "That rat took our cakes too." "He had a hat and a badge," said Edgar. That night Edith ate a jar of pickles. Edgar had a limp stick of celery. His tummy rumbled like a monster all night long. The next day Edith was ravenous, so she told Edgar she wanted cakes, sausages, cheese, ice cream, all sorts of nice things. Edgar was determined to take home a feast. His basket was heavy as he trundled down the alley. He couldn't wait to show Edith. But... "Hold it right there!" The inspector blocked the way. This time he had a hat, a badge and a notebook which rested against his huge belly. He looked extremely important and very pleased with himself. "I was right about the sausages. I was right about the cakes. They were, bad." He sniffed Edgar's basket, licked his lips and put a big tick in his notebook. "Just as I suspected, all this food is very bad indeed. It is my official duty to take it all." He seized the basket and started to pull it down the alley. But Edgar had had enough. "Hold it right there!" shouted Edgar. Edgar snatched the basket back, sending everything tumbling to the ground. The inspector filled his paws with whatever he could and made for a hole in the fence. But that rat was now so fat he could hardly run. "Stop!" yelled Edgar, chasing the cheeky little, fat little, juicy-looking rat as he waddled rather deliciously away. Huffing and puffing, the inspector tried to squeeze himself through the hole in the fence, but he was far too fat and far too slow, and Edgar was right behind him. That evening, Edith dined like a queen. "Oh, Edgar, you have spoiled me. What a delicious feast." But Edgar wasn't hungry. "Whatever is the matter?" asked Edith. "Where is your appetite? Have you been eating between meals? Edgar smiled a secret smile, straightened his hat, polished his badge and put a big tick in his notebook. Yes, I did have a cheeky little something earlier, he smiled. It was very fat and juicy, and just as I suspected, it was